Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30 this Tuesday, March 25th. Time to wrap it up and not going anywhere. So far, we've been drifting down since that London close, and that was about it. A couple of attempts to take it lower, but met with buying. So far, the support is holding at 58.10, and probably a couple of times below it, but it's pretty much a non-event at this point. So I'm thinking range-bound trading, and we may still get a little push to the downside into the close. But at this point, I would be a kind of a late. I would expect them to be a little bit more aggressive on the short side if that was going to happen. But you can't quite rule it out. But at this point, as long as they hold above that 5800 support London low, I would start off range bound, looking for a more of a range bound trading day going into tomorrow. Not looking at we'll see. Technically, we're still extending to the upside given the today's trading. So it's technically still in a move out of the middle to the upside. So if you look at a bigger picture, it's they extended a little bit. I mean, not quite up here into this upper range. We are starting to run into this resistance or congestion area. So how to get through that one. Once they get up above this 5900, I think you can safely say they cleared it. But I mean, at this point, we got to get a good chunk of range here, which they need to kind of get past before we really can look at this as a real change in capital flow. So at this point, starting off range bound, I would still keep maybe a slight bias to the upside, but primarily range bound. If they close below the 5800, definitely back range bound. And then let's see if they can do something about tomorrow. Other than that, it looks like very much like today may cut off the buying to the upside. We will see though. It's not doesn't necessarily need to be that way. We can certainly see another. This could be as the pause day, and then we continue up tomorrow, or it could be the end of the run and we'll start reversing. So. It's a little bit early in that whole process to really get excited about it, but we have at least that two gap up kind of a day, so two nice strong days, and then one right now a little pause day. So we'll take it. We'll start off and thinking about the maybe higher prices. So tomorrow morning though we get mortgage apps at 7. We had durable goods at 8:30. We have a speaker at 10, Neil Kashkari. Oil report at 10:30. A 5-year auction at 1. So that's what we got going tomorrow. So durable goods at 8:30 could be an interesting number. So we'll see how that goes. But at this point, starting off range bound, slight bias to the upside. If they take out 5800 before the close, yes, start off range bound. And let's see if they where they're going to end up closing this market here. All right. So there we have it. Still in the move out of the middle to the upside. No trades on the ES. I did take a trade on the Nasdaq. I was a little bit late in the session here, but I figured when they started heading, we had this drift to the downside, and they were down here. This move to the downside on the mean, and then bounced back up, and then just slop. And I also held my held off a little bit, waited for this thing to either start retracing or go lower, and didn't do nothing. So at that point, when it goes sideways like that, I figured that the short side may have a shot at taking it lower. So I had to sit here and wait for it to come and get back here above this upper range to get short against it. And I had a pretty good trading going here. They had trade going. They were down here all the way down here at the midpoint. So I thought they had a shot at actually taking this lower. But then, of course, they big major snapback and that's knocked me out. So I locked in a little bit more profit on that trade, but it still knocked me out at $11. So one contract, $11 on that trade. And yeah, I was expecting maybe an attempt to take it down here to test these 360s, especially since ES has been down on the other side of the range. But Nasdaq holding up better. And so far, I mean, it has not been taking out the volume weighted mean. After that, the run up, back to the mean again, and now they're back up again. So I would start off range bound. I would stay give a bias to the upside. If they close below this 360, take off the long bias going into the overnight. But we are in stage one still on the Nasdaq. It's still extending to the upside. And if we can get up here into this upper area, maybe start hitting that 20,700, that's where we really find resistance. So Nasdaq can certainly move this another 300 points to the upside before we really start running into some good resistance. So we're keeping hopes up for Nasdaq, right? So that's kind of where we are. Bond market traded back up again. The stall finally at the 116.24. So right in the middle here on the range. So not much to say about the bond market. They were down here probing that lower edge. They're back up here towards the midpoint. Chances are they're going to head up to the 117 13 that attractor at this point. We will see, but at this point, it looks to me like bond market definitely backed off that lower edge. So one trade on the Nasdaq so far, and that was as the short attempt at the middle here. That was a middle type of a trade. So the fact that they didn't retrace harder here gave me a lot of, kind of got me thinking about the short side, at least trying that trade. Oil and gold. Gold is just kind of holding around above that, below the 3030s now. So they are, I would say gold is back down on the lower end of this range again, back potentially heading lower. The nice probe to the upside definitely ran it above what I thought it would, but now they're holding below this key area, the 30s and the 34s. So as long as they hold below it, I'm going to start off range bound with a bias to the downside and see if they can take this lower. So looking for short setups against the 30s and the 34s for rotations back down. That's gold. No trades on gold today. And on oil, we backed off a little bit. Now they're grinding back up towards the mean. So I would just start off range bound on oil and still look for short opportunities. Well, I would start off range bound. They're back up above 69 again. So not necessarily leaning short at this point, but we'll see if they can take out the 69.50s and extend. Tomorrow we're probably going to see maybe a rotation to the downside, but I would start off range bound on oil at this point, no particular bias at this point. And then gold, as I said, slight bias to the downside, unless they close above that 30 or 34 level. But at this point, it doesn't look like they're going to do that. So as we have it, back to the ES. Getting into that last half hour, and we'll see if they're going to get some selling. Nasdaq looks like they're popping, so probably going to drag the ES with it to the upside. So I'm going to leave it on the Nasdaq so you can see how that does. But it looks pretty freaking good. So Nasdaq, it looks like it's coming back to life a little bit. We'll see if they can hold on to this. But so far, yes, that one trade at the in the middle here, a short trade, up $11 on that one. Alrighty, we'll leave it there for now. I'll see you back at bright and early tomorrow morning. You guys have a great evening. So, holding day, still extending. Capital flow is pointed higher, and let's see if this cut off the buying. We'll find out tomorrow. Alrighty, guys, I'll see you in the morning. Later.